So you're thinking about moving to the Des Moines area. Well, in this video, we're going to take a look at some tips and some kind of buying hacks for buying your home. So, and you're going to want to stick around to the end. I'm going to save a couple of the best tips for last. So let's get into that right now. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about living in the Des Moines area, well, then you're going to want to tap subscribe and hit the bell for notifications so you can be the first to know about the current market conditions in the Des Moines area. My name is Andre. I'm with the Des Moines, Iowa real estate team, and we get calls from people like you all the time. So whether you move in soon, like in 9 days, or maybe later, like 9 months from now, just give me a call. My contact information is going to be in the description. I'm looking forward to meeting you and helping you find the right home and having a smooth move to the Des Moines area. So the first tip is to buy below your budget. 5 to 10% lower than what you possibly have been approved for or think you can afford. This has got a lot of advantages. First of all, your mortgage payments are going to be a little less. Your homeowner's insurance is going to be less. Your property insurance is going to be less. There's just a whole lot of things that you can do with that little bit of extra money if you buy below your budget. In a good competitive market, it gives you room to negotiate a little bit better. Just in case you need to buy over the list price. A lot of advantages to doing that. One of the advantages that I wish I had thought of when I built my new home is that you're gonna want to do a couple of extra things after you buy your home. New appliances, maybe some landscaping, just little extras. You may, even on a new construction home, there are going to be a few little things that you're going to want to fix, and hopefully they're not big, but you're going to want a little bit of extra money saved up for those type things. And even if you don't use it for those kind of things, you saved a little bit of money. So it's a good tip. Wish I had thought of it. Speaking of buying below your budget, consider a fixer-upper. There's a lot of great homes out there. Maybe instead of buying brand new, I like some of the older homes that have been updated a little bit. In places like, you can check my videos, West Des Moines and the south side of Johnston and in Urbandale area, there are some homes those are some of the best locations in the cities in the Des Moines area. So, and you're gonna find fixer-uppers there that can save you a little bit of money, and you just spend a little bit of money after you get in there, and you can do actually what you want done to the homes instead of what the seller decided that they thought would be a good idea. And I talk about it all the time in the video. Some of the videos, you got new construction homes that have not necessarily a fixer-upper, but they don't finish the basement, which I think is a huge savings. Sometimes you can save, 10 to 25,000, sometimes even up to $50,000 by not finishing the basement or not buying a home with a finished basement. But then later on, when maybe after you saved a little bit of money or whenever you really need the extra space, you can get down there and build an entertainment center. You can increase the equity of your home by finishing a little bit more of your home. You can build another bedroom a lot of times and a bathroom downstairs in the basement. So a lot of possibilities when you're buying a fixer-upper. I think that's a great thing to do and something a lot of times people don't think of when they're looking for, new homes. So another tip is to possibly think of off-market listings. So when we talk, maybe ask me about the off-market listings. Our brokerage and a lot of other brokerages have special websites or special listings that are not actually on the MLS and not on, like, for instance, Zillow or Realtor.com. And, those listings a lot of times will never hit the market, possibly because they're such a great deal or because it's such a great house in a great area that people will just buy it right away. There are several different things that I can do to help if for instance, you are looking for a house in a particular neighborhood that there are no homes for sale in that neighborhood. I may be able to get in there and find somebody who didn't even think about listing their home, but tell them that I have an interested buyer that wants to be in that area, and I can maybe find one for you. I've done that before, and if you're really interested in a certain area, it's very helpful to get in there and do stuff like that. There are a couple of other tips and tricks. I won't mention them here, but ask me about that when we get together. And I could possibly find, there's not always a lot of houses off market that are available, but there may be. And if there's something that you want, let me know. Speaking of that, if you're moving to the area and, I would love to help you. I'd love to meet you and help you find the perfect home for you, help you through this process. So I'm always talking about a smooth move. This is what I'm talking about. All these little tips and tricks that I will be able to help you and show you the way through that you may not have thought about. That's what I can do for you, and that's what I mean when I say a smooth move to the area. So another tip is to possibly consider buying in the off season. Like for instance, between like November and February, in the winter months, especially here in Iowa. Not a lot of buyers are looking at that time period, and a lot of these sellers need to get out of their home. They need the money maybe to move, or they're moving their job and they need to get rid of their house, and they need to get rid of it, so therefore they might be willing to take a little bit less. So that gives us a little bit of negotiating power if you're buying off season in kind of the winter months, and it's a great time to buy, and you could get a really good deal. So another tip is to try to look beyond the staging. Staging is a powerful tool that sellers use to kind of manipulate your feelings about the area, and it can go both ways. But you want to look out for possibly, like for instance, yesterday I showed a house to one of my clients, and it was a small house, and they put small furniture in that area to make it look a little bigger. That's a typical thing that staging does. And also like in the bedrooms, to put a double bed in there instead of a king bed in the primary bedroom, so that you would think that you would feel like it's a little bit bigger room. Just got to be careful and kind of look beyond that. Also, you want to look at those houses that maybe aren't staged properly, or that don't look very good, and look for those possibilities that you can add to it. I always have a tape measure in my car for those people who, want to measure, for instance, will a king size bed fit in your primary bedroom, and how much room do you have for that nightstand that you have that you really don't want to get rid of and don't need to buy a new one. You know what I'm saying? So kind of try to look beyond that. Also, you may want to think about what the lighting is like. You walk into a basement possibly and it feels a little dingy. Well, lighting can help that situation really easily in what I call eye level basements, where your basement ground level is at your head. So there might not be a lot of light down there. Well, just some light bulbs will fix that. Or maybe you want something that has natural light and you don't want to worry about the lighting in there. So you definitely want a walkout basement. So you need, you want what you want. So speaking of that, what do you want in your new home when you're looking for a home? Do you want that walkout basement? Or are you looking for a particular area, or maybe only looking in areas where there are great schools like Ankeny and West Des Moines? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to know what you're looking for, and so we can talk about that. So the next tip is one of the most important ones. Don't skip the inspection. Look, you're gonna pay around $500, maybe a little less, for an inspection, depending on the size of your house and where it is, and who you use, obviously. But you don't want to skip the inspection. Especially, a lot of people think that they should skip the inspection if it's a brand new construction home. Don't do it. There's not a lot of times when you'll find big problems with a new construction home, but there may be a problem, and it's well worth the little bit of money that you're going to spend on that inspection. As with the last tip, staging and, paint, just places you're not going to look, like in the attic. Those things are all things that the inspector is going to look for. They're going to walk on the roof. They're going to look for whether or not the roof has been put on properly. In an older home, they're going to look at the wear and tear and signs of maybe water leaks or, leaks in your basement. So many things that the inspector is going to look for and that you are probably not going to think of, and it's just well worth it. So please don't skip the inspection. I will always encourage my buyers to get an inspection. It's a very important part of the whole buying process. So you're not going to want to do that. And the most important tip that I can tell you, I can't emphasize it enough. You need to get pre-approved. It helps in so many ways. First of all, the biggest thing that it helps is for you to know what you can afford. Let's say you are looking for a $500,000 house and you didn't get pre-approved, and we're out looking at $500,000 houses. We look at 10 of them and you find one. That's great. Except what if you could have afforded a $600,000 house? What if you could have afforded $550,000 or even $525,000? You could look at a few more homes and maybe find one just a little bit better. Or in that same scenario, what if we were looking at $500,000 homes and you find one that you absolutely love? Of course, we are going to find one, that you like. And then guess what? You can only afford $475,000 and you can't get approved for that. And you don't have the extra $25,000 cash to just put down and get that $500,000 house. So it's important in so many ways. Some of the other things, a lender can tell you so much about your situation and can look for incentives and better loan programs, might get you better interest rates, help with closing costs, help with the negotiations. There's so many details and about all that stuff, and I'm going to handle most of that stuff, but you need to know that is probably the most important part. One of the best tips is to go ahead and do that first. A lot of people think that it dings your credit, and it does just a little bit for a small period of time. Or, hey, I don't know if I'm going to find one here in the next, 3 months. So the credit, the application process, I don't need to go through it right now. You really do. You do need to get pre-approved, and it will last long enough, and it's not that hard to go ahead and get it updated after if it does take us a long time to find a house. So anyway, can't emphasize that enough. It's very important. It's just one of the tips, and you definitely need to do that. All right, so there you have it, a short little video about what some of the tips and kind of like buying hacks that maybe you didn't think of. Which one of the hacks had you not thought of? Did any of them surprise you? Leave a comment in the section below, and let's talk about it. So anyway, look, if you're thinking about moving to this area, I'd love to help you make that smooth move to the area. I can help you find your dream home, and we can make that smooth move to the Des Moines area.